Morning class. Our main topic today is how to conduct a business meeting. And the first thing we have to do is we need to know the purpose of the business meeting. Now, why do people hold meetings? In a business context, of course. So meetings are a technique of bringing a group or team together to work for a common purpose. Effective meetings are an important aspect of making a group or a team successful. Meetings allow the team to perform beyond the potential or each individual member. Now, still talking about the different purposes why we hold meetings. So in meetings, the individual contributions are synergized to maximize the potential of the team. By bringing together members in meetings to pursue a common focus, better decisions, commitment, support, and implementation can result. Still talking about the effectiveness of business meetings, meetings can be more efficient through the use of the following meeting tools. And let me draw your attention to the importance of these tools. And of course, the first tool is focus statement. Second tool is agenda. The third one is code of conduct. And finally, meeting roles and responsibilities. So the critique of the meeting should be kept till the end, of course. We'll go back to that at some point. Meetings can be more effective if all participants understand a common process. Now, there are things we have to observe. So we have to prepare before the meeting. We have to participate during the meeting. And of course, finally, you have to perform after the meeting. When it comes to meeting considerations, there are again a series of things you have to observe. Mainly, you have to make a focus statement. You have to ensure that meeting roles are understood. This is very essential. And you also want to ensure that the group or the team uses an agenda. I really want to underline the importance of the word agenda. You want also to take your time to prepare, to participate, and to perform. Now, an essential question imposes itself is people should know when to conduct a meeting. So when do we conduct meetings, or when should we conduct meetings? So normally a meeting should be conducted whenever a group of people need to get together to work toward a common focus. And of course, the focus could be to accomplish some action or to provide some information. A meeting should only be conducted when there is a specific action needing to be accomplished by the group or for passing information. Now let's talk about action meetings. When should an action meeting be conducted? An action meeting should be conducted when forming a new group or team, starting a new project, needing to accomplish an objective beyond the scope of one individual, or solving a problem or improving a process. Now, an action meeting could also be conducted when making a group or team decision. This is quite essential. Now, when should an informational meeting be conducted? Now, remember we talked about an action meeting, now we talk about an informational meeting. So, informational meetings should be conducted when presenting a management message, when advising of a change in focus, policies. For example, if you're introducing a new policy concerning the dress code, then you need to call for a meeting and procedures and so on and so forth. Now, it is also essential to conduct an informational meeting when motivating a group or team members. So it is used here as a motivational force. It can simply be held to welcome a new leader or a new member, or to recognize outstanding performance when someone performs in an excellent manner. So you can use an informational meeting as an act of recognition, of course, for his or her performance. And it can also be used to learn from mistakes. Now, mistakes can be quite useful also. I've already mentioned the focus statement, but we need now more details about how to formulate a focus statement. So the focus statement, the main reason for that statement is to provide the purpose of the meeting. Why are we here? Why are we meeting? So each meeting must have a written purpose statement. If the group or the team cannot really write a focus statement, so there is no need to hold a meeting. So that shows the importance of drafting this focus statement. When we want to formulate the focus statements, of course, we want to focus. We need a specific focus for the meeting. And we also need to think about the output we expect from this meeting. So we know exactly where we're leading. When it comes to the qualities of focus statement, you want to make sure that your focus statement is clear, concise, simple statement, and it is something that is understood by everyone in that group or team. So understanding is essential. So we normally start for the agenda, and then let me give you an example. When we have, for example, informational meeting focus statement, the purpose of the meeting is to gain insight into the requirements of an effective meeting. Here you have an example of a focus statement, the objective of which is to clarify why are we meeting. So we're meeting for informational reasons. Now, action meeting focus statement. Here, the purpose of this meeting is to create a mission statement for this group. Now, you can see actually that the second example is more focalized. The objective of the meeting is profession oriented. I mean, whereas the first objective or the focus of the first meeting is more of an informal or has an informal nature. Agenda. Now, this is very essential for meeting, especially business meetings. So what is the role of an agenda? So the agenda acts as actually the team's meeting guide. So it keeps you on track. So there are no risks of digressions. So the agenda gets the meeting's desired outcomes. So it gets us to the outcomes, and it also encourages effective and efficient meetings. The agenda also nurtures a focused group, team meeting, documents key group activities. This is again also essential. And the agenda also acts to stimulate progress. The third element is the code of conduct. So the code of conduct, of course, gives us an idea about how meetings, the manner according to which the meeting should be conducted. And here we have, of course, the code of conduct considers how meetings are conducted exactly. So it opens communications. It is done by consensus. Each team or group member makes, of course, makes its own, and the code of conduct is posted at all team meetings in plain view of all participants. We get now to a stage where we have to determine meeting roles and responsibilities. And beside normal functions, of course, meetings involve additional roles for members. And it is important to define specific meeting roles and responsibilities. Now we get to the people involved in a business meeting. We have what we call meeting leader. So he or she is also called the chairman. So the role, or the main role of the meeting leader, is to guide the team to achieve the focus statement. Remember, we already talked about the focus statements and the characteristics of the statement. So the leader balances process and content with the emphasis on the meeting process. The leader oversees the preparation for the meeting and he also leads the meeting process and ensures action and follow-up after the meeting. It is also the meeting's responsibility. It is also the meeting leader's responsibility to require assistance from others to perform his or her role. How do we meet the responsibilities of the chairman? So meeting leader responsibilities. So you lead by example. You empower, giving more power to the group or the team, and you act to guide the group to achieve the focus. You also develop balanced participation of all members. You don't want to give the floor to some and take it away from others. So you need to look for that balanced participation. You also need to encourage teamwork. You want to recognize and reward appropriate behaviors. Now let's move on to another participant in business meeting, members. So the member. So what is the main role? It sounds a little bit funny, but that's what his or her role is just to do it, to be there, to participate. So members also must balance relationships and tasks. This is quite essential. That balance is highly solicited. So they must prepare for the meeting by doing research on agenda items. So this is essential. You know the agenda items in advance, and you're supposed to do or you're supposed to conduct some research in that area. So during the meeting, of course, members must participate to their maximum potential, because that would definitely enrich the meeting dynamics. So after the meeting, of course, they must complete assignments, because we have assignments and responsibilities to meet. So they have to maintain focus, of course. They have to expect to contribute. So they are expected actually to contribute their ideas, still talking about members. So they are supposed to maximize the participation of others. It is also their responsibility to build constructive relationships with other group members. Encouraging open and honest communication really is seen as one of the responsibilities of team members. Now, we're looking for this, what we call a win-win solutions, and of course members have to require this in order to support the group's decisions. Now we move to another type of participant called the recorder, and the recorder, of course, serves as the memory for the whole meeting. I guess an experience has shown that one recorder is more than sufficient. There are cases where you have big meetings and so many members, and then you want to involve more than one recorder, but experience has shown that one recorder would do the job. So it is recommended, detailed minutes. Minutes are very essential to keep track of everything, and they are, of course, they need to be taken. The agenda provides a record of the group's progress. So again, that's very important, and it should be sufficient to inform people outside the group about the group's activities. So as long as they are informed, that would do the job perfectly. So typically members take sufficient notes to be able to actively participate and to inform other team members. Now, what are the recorder responsibilities? So remember, meeting content. So that's one of the main tasks to be filled. Emphasize recording of ideas. Communicate internally and externally. Organize correspondence report progress. And you also want to document meetings. Now, we move on to another participant called the facilitator. So the facilitator drives the meeting process as a neutral observer. So the role of this facilitator is to make it easier to accomplish the mission of the group by ensuring the group and make sure that the group does the right things. And how? Right. That's what we call you do the right things right. Now, the responsibility of the facilitator is to focus on the objectives and goals, and I guess you know the difference between mission and objectives. So the mission is global, objectives are specific. The mission is long-term. Objectives are here to serve the mission. And please let me draw your attention to this very important distinction between mission and objectives. So the mission actually is global and objectives are specific. So it is also the job of the facilitator to apply appropriate principles, methodology, tools and techniques. It is also his job to coach the leader and the group. So it's more of a coaching position there. So the facilitator also intervenes when appropriate and necessary. It is also his job to let the leader lead and the group perform in an appropriate manner. So, and finally, of course, he or she initiates action to help the group manage conflict, because it is very possible that conflict may grow out of different business situations. Another essential point, although we said that was the last point, but the essential point, the final point, is to encourage open and honest communication and active listening. Now, when preparing for the meeting, this is again very important. So I'm drawing your attention to the importance of preparing for the meeting. So because the success of a group depends on the active involvement of all the members. So this active involvement is considered as a key of success. So members should participate fully in meetings. Here would give you an idea about some meaningful guidelines to assist the group in conducting an effective business meeting. Now, we're going to do it in steps. So we're going to look at the guidelines before the meeting. So before the meeting, the step of brainstorming is very essential, because the brainstorming ideas lead to the formulation of a reliable focus statement. So you have also to evaluate what you know. You have to evaluate what you know, and you have to formulate alternatives and try to orient toward one alternative, because that would be more focalized. And you also have to review the agenda and ensure that you complete your assignments. So assignment completion is very solicited, essential. So that was before the meeting. Now, during the meeting, you have to obey the code of conduct and the principles of teamwork. You have to speak to make your point and to present and clarify ideas. No enigmas, no indirect approaches to presenting your ideas. You listen actively to learn from others. So you have to develop that positive attitude to what is being discussed during meetings. So you also have to cooperate with all other participants. So you want to understand the viewpoint of others and try to see their point of view. So you allow some space for other possible levels of interpretations. Remain focused. Remain focused, that's also essential. And pay attention to the specific desired outcomes. Don't try to jump ahead or push your own agenda. No. Involve yourself without monopolizing the floor taking. Actively participate, and also you try to provide your expertise, and you nurture, which is you're participating to the enriching and the empowerment of others' ideas. Look for ways to build on other team members' ideas. So someone presents an idea and then you work on it. So your addition would definitely add up more fuel, as we say, would add up more fuel to the flames, positively speaking. And always at least you try to go for what we call win-win solutions. You don't want to split your meetings in conflictual groups. So you're looking for ways to foster the synergy. That's very essential. You foster the synergy of all ideas rather than one idea over another. Make sure you don't take sides. That's very essential. When you're participating in the meeting as a speaker, you have to speak, share information, but you have to be concise. That's very important. You plan what you're going to say. You encourage building ideas or building of ideas, and you avoid personal remarks. Nobody during the meeting should take things personally, and keep remarks focused on subject. Now, when you're participating in the meeting as a listener, of course, you have to listen and you let other person convey his or her message. And this involves, of course, you would have to involve yourself in others' message, but you still want to summarize and paraphrase frequently, because when you paraphrase and summarize, you clarify things, and it is taken as an open invitation to others to participate positively. Talk only to clarify, of course, and you emphasize with others, and you nurture active listening. That's very essential. Now, when you participate in a meeting as a cooperator, so first thing you have to do, of course, you have to cooperate. So you have to cooperate, you have to consider self-esteem of others. It's very essential that other people feel comfortable and respect, self-esteem and respect, and dual respect is here. That's very essential. One should not develop that complex of superiority because you're speaking, you holding the floor most of the time, so that is seen very negatively during meetings. You operate within the group. When you operate within the group, you keep and maintain that the synergy we have already talked about. Synergy is here when you operate within a group. You have to observe others' actions. You have to observe other actions, and because you want to pursue a common focus, and you want to establish open communications. You also want to recognize individual contributions. You want to allow positive conflict. We talked about conflict before, but we talked about it as a negative act. But it is also possible to get involved in what we call positive conflict. It is considered as a very reliable source of information about you, about others, about the subject matter dealt with during the meeting. So you are advised to allow positive conflict. Trade-off ideas of the group and encourage trust. Trust is very essential. Now, we talked before the meeting, during the meeting. Now we move to after the meeting. So after the meeting, you act to perform assignments. You find necessary support and resources. You talk up team activities. That's also essential. And you ensure team integrity. You also want to review the next meeting's agenda. That puts you ahead of what's coming. Now, towards the end, you have, of course, to think of what we call a critical review of the meeting. A critical review of the meeting, which means you open the whole thing to possible critical approaches to what has been discussed and the output you have come to. So here, of course, you have to ask possible questions related to communication. For example, was there open and honest communication? You have to ask these questions. Results. Was the focus statement accomplished? Did you succeed in formulating and accomplishing the focus statement that you fixed at the beginning? And of course, you also want to reflect upon the participants' involvement. Did everyone participate? That's again very essential. Now, does the team of any member require any training? Because sometimes business meetings may show that actually some member needs some kind of training. So the training can be in the form of continuing education. It can be in the form of an evening class to really upgrade that member's skills and performance eventually. So individuals, were all the individuals, or did they contribute effectively? And were their contributions recognized? Questions. And then, of course, you have to open the whole thing. You're looking for an open-ended meeting where you ask for the possibility of any items really which calls for further research. Do we need to do more research in this particular field or that field? Unity. Now, a question that you ask in relation to unity, you want to know if the team work together, or maybe they have developed serious symptoms of conflict. Huh? Are there any issue requiring management help? No, maybe you may have issues that call for the intervention of senior management. So this is another possibility to contemplate. And thank you very much indeed. Goodbye.